So we're going to continue our discussion of place value. We're going to review place value of whole numbers. Then we're going to start on place value of decimals. All right, so I'm going to use a 4-digit whole number so we can look at place value of big numbers. So 4, 2, 3, 1. 4,231. So we're going to label these of the place that they're in. All right, so the 4 is in the thousands place, so we're going to put a TH. The 2 is in the hundreds place, so we're going to put a capital H. The 3 is in the tens place, and the 1, ironically, I didn't make it like this, but the 1 is in the ones place. So we're going to put an O. All right. So as you can see, the 4 is in the thousands place by the TH because thousand starts with TH. The 2 is in the hundreds place. The 3 is in the tens place. And the 1, funny enough, is in the ones place. And if you remember, the way that we write that in expanded notation, 4 times 1,000, because the 4 is in the thousands place, plus 2 times 100, because the 2 is in the hundreds place, plus 3 times 10, because the 10 is in the 3 is in the tens place, and plus 1 times 1, because the 1 is in the ones place. And I know that might be a little bit redundant, but it's really necessary because the 1 is in the ones place. If you don't put anything, that would mean there's a 0 in the ones place, and that's not true. So here's what our expanded notation is going to look like. 4 is in the thousands place, 2 is in the hundreds place, 3 is in the tens place, and 1 is in the ones place. And from that, I could guess what number that we're looking at if I didn't already know. So we're looking at 4,000 because we got 4 times 1,000, 200 because we got 2 times 100, 30 because we got 3 times 10, and 1 because we got 1 times 0. So our number is 4,231. So that's our first review problem from yesterday. And my apologies getting this board on the screen because I'm not used to the small board. I'm just kind of teaching in my classroom today, which is a change for me. All right. So let's go over one more of those before we start our decimals. So this time we're going to do to the hundred thousands. I'm not sure if I showed you the 100,000 yesterday, but we're gonna go ahead and do the 100,000s so that way we can cover all the bases. 602,306. So 602,306. That's how we read that number. All right. So we're going to label it before we start. The 6 is in the hundred thousands. So I'm going to put capital H, capital T, lowercase h, hundred thousands. The 0 is in the 10,000s. And the 2 is in the thousands. Alright, so before we go any further, I want everybody to see that. The 6 is in the 100,000s. There's a 0 in the 10,000s, which is 0, but it's still very important. You'll see why in a minute. And the 2 is in the thousands place. So before we get to the second part, that's the first part, and I want you to get that before we move on. Now we'll look at the second part. The 3 is in the hundreds place, so that's going to be a capital H. The 0 is in the tens place, so that's going to be a capital T. And the 6 is in the ones place, so that's going to be a capital O. So that's how the second part looks. 3 is in the hundreds place, 0 is in the tens, and 6 is in the ones. Alright. So the way that we're going to write this in expanded notation, we're going to write 6 times 100,000, so 100 and 3 zeros behind the 100, plus there's 0 in the 10,000s, so we're not going to put anything there, and 2 in the thousands, so plus 2 times 1,000. Now we're going to start on the next side. Plus 3, and that's in the hundreds place, so times 100. Plus, there's nothing in the tens place, so we're not going to put a 10. And plus 6 times 1, because 6 is in the ones place. So 6 times 1. So here's what our expanded notation is going to look like. 6 times 100,000 plus 2 times 1,000 plus 3 times 100 plus 6 times 1. And then if we want to write it in standard notation, 600,000 plus 2,000, don't forget our comma, plus 300 plus 6. And once again, I'm using a smaller board, so it's a little bit harder for me because I do write big, and I'm using a different marker today, as you can see. I'm using my old trusty brown marker from class. And it's working better now, so, you know, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to look at. All right. So that is your basic whole numbers. So now we're going to look at decimal numbers. So we're not even going to worry about the whole numbers right now, because I don't want to put too much information out there to confuse you. So we've got a decimal 3. Okay, so we're going to start small. So we're going to start at decimal 3. So the first place after the decimal, there is no 1th place, because that would be kind of funny. 1th. So the first place after the decimal is the 10th. 10th. That TH sound. So 10th. So the 3 is in the 10th place. So the way that we're going to write that in expanded notation is 3 times, you can either do it as a fraction, 1/10, like that. 3 times 1/10 That would be wrong, but that's not the way that you're usually going to see it. You're usually going to see it like this: 3 times 0.1. 3 times 0.1. Because if you did 3 times 0.1, you would get 0.3 or 3/10. Now we're going to add a number. So we're going to add 7. So this whole decimal number is the 3 is in the 10th place. The 7 is in the 100th place. So all together in expanded notation, this decimal is going to look like this: 3 times 0.1, which we just saw, plus 7 times 0.01. Because the 0, this 3 is going to turn into a 0 when we have the 7. Now, another way that this can be written for my 6th graders is 37 over 100. And the way that fraction is said is 37 hundredths. 37 hundredths. So that is the beginning of what we're going to look at for the next few days. Place value of decimals, because I know that can be a little bit more of a difficult concept. So let's stop there. Restart probably Monday, because we have packet pickup tomorrow. And I'll see you then. Keep practicing, guys. Don't let up off this stuff. I know we're not physically in school right now, but we're still in online school. So take care, study hard, and I'll see you next time.